there's the voice.
Yeah.
You use your voice, you use the silences, you use the gaps. But in the book, the voice is entirely in the reader's head.
Yeah.
Which means that the writing process of a special for an OTT platform and the writing for a book must be two separate processes in my head. But are they?
Extremely different. Writing a comedy show, like I was saying earlier, stand-up is generated in speech.
Yeah.
It's best not to write it down and say it.
Yeah.
Because then you become a person reciting a script rather than being the person who is, communicating with the audience. With the written word, it's far more exciting because I'm writing it in my voice. Or if there are characters, then I know what the characters sound like, and the characters are talking amongst themselves in their voices. And it's actually a hope that I can telepathically communicate how I expect it to sound. And you have some control over that with the language they use and the rhythm of your sentences.
Sure.
Well, ultimately, like you said, it's on them. And so the written word actually gives you the luxury of being funny in a very different way. And so it's far more relaxed. Even something that is funny to sit, like there's laugh out loud bits in the book. But if I read it out loud to you, it suddenly isn't very funny anymore.
Exactly.
It's meant to be read. And so I was just aware of that it's a different mechanism.
Sure.
And I didn't worry too much beyond that.
So, you remember when you started consuming comedy, you remember the first bit of knee slapping, throwing the head back, laugh out loud thing that made you think, wow, this is something worth doing. Do you remember those moments of consumption rather than creation?
I think when I was a kid, the first really funny book I read, I think I would have been 6 or something, was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh,
yeah. And I was like, you can do this. This is allowed. Books can be funny. And me as a kid, I remember thinking that I think was really formative in my personality for the remainder of my life.
For sure. Wow, books can be funny.
I didn't know it was allowed. Honestly, it's the best kind of book, film, music, or anything to listen to is you watch it and you're like, you could have done this the whole time, where someone opens a door to a way of being free in an art form that you didn't know was possible because subconsciously you have built barriers around yourself. Like, this is what's allowed in the medium, this is what's not allowed.
Sure.
And then someone comes along and does something great and you're like, oh, yes, of course, you can do this also. You could have done it the whole time.
Sure.
I think the best case scenario is when you are able to make something like that yourself. If we should be so lucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to oh damn, where does oh Kanan, tell me a joke land?
Is oh damn below or above?
Whichever you want. Entirely open to you.
Oh Kanan, tell me a joke is I'll tell you what, it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Because I'm very reclusive. Okay, actually. I'm hugely reclusive. I don't talk to people and I don't do interviews. Well, it's a pleasure talking to you, but typically I don't.
Thank you.
The only time this happens is at immigration in other countries. Yeah. So when I'm going to a different country and they were like, why have you come to the United States? And I'm like, actually, so if you go to the US, you have to go on something called a genius visa, okay? Literally.
So you have a genius visa.
I have a genius visa.
Certified.
It's called a person of extraordinary ability.
Oh.
Yeah. And you have to prove your extraordinary ability. So the immigration officer is like, so what's your extraordinary ability? I'm like, oh, actually, I tell jokes. And then they say, tell me a joke. And that's a very high stress situation to tell a joke in. And so I have one prepared.
Yes, please.
I do a knock-knock joke. Yeah.
You do a knock-knock joke?
Yeah. Okay, I know a knock-knock joke. This is what I do. All immigration. You guys can use it if you like. Okay? I know a knock-knock joke, but you have to start it.
Okay, knock-knock.
Who's there?
Oh. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I'll put it on you and everybody's like...